The show is useless unless you can take that attention and funnel it into an actual business, track that business. And that's what I'm talking about with a referral. So
yeah.
This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 378 of The Real Word.
Word is up. I feel like we've been off for a few weeks. Have we been off?
We have.
Yeah.
Been on a little hiatus. We had the holiday. We had a quarterly meeting that conflicted. So we had a holiday. We had some conflicts. Little Real Word break. You get the leeway after 378 episodes, though, Nicole. I think.
Yeah. We were allowed.
I think we're allowed.
I mean, news is a little stale kind of too around this time of year. So
yeah, these are two interesting topics, though.
Yeah.
You've seen over the last couple of years, major publications cover a lot of stories. And obviously, the obvious ones are the breaking stories that you and I covered, for a couple of years when you're talking about NAR settlement and different NAR, shall we say, not conspiracies. What's the wrong word? That's the wrong word.
I love it,
controversies.
Though. Let's go.
Like issues, employee craziness. Okay. Major publications that were breaking these stories, not legacy media. Legacy media was putting a paywall behind, on top of New York Times breaking a story, which is ludicrous. That's why BAM gives everything away for free. But the New York Times and Wall Street Journal continue to cover the real estate industry. And so we've got one topic from the New York Times here today on a agent who you may be following on Instagram. She found a new way to sell high-end houses, mock the rich. That's the title of the New York Times article. We'll break it down. It's an agent from Tampa. And again, you may already be following her. And then the Wall Street Journal has a story, and they made a post on Instagram about divorcing couples or not getting divorced anymore because of the house they owned. We'll cover that one second.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I mean, that's the teaser on that one. All right. New York Times. She found a new way to sell high-end houses, mock the rich. In minute-long video tours of Florida real estate, Brianna Bernosky, and I'm just going to call her Tampa Bree because that's what she goes by on IG. That's how you may know her. It's Tampa_Bree, B-R-E. She lampoons the rich, New York Times says, and the upscale houses she wants you to buy. So the article goes through some of the commentary. If you've seen her Instagram, she is using jokes that include, curse words and graphic language at times in her descriptions of these homes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here, I'll read some that are in the article. What do rich people do with a closet this size? She asked, as though someone really wanted to know the answer. This is where they store their write-off tax. Now, that's not that big of a deal, but there's a Titanic joke, a Diddy party reference, an R-rated quip about the disappointing size of the swimming pool. She wraps by urging viewers to tell friends about this place, though only if they cannot afford it, because it will bug the bleep out of them. If you didn't know any better, the New York Times says you might think this is a 1 minute and 13-second clip was a profane and withering satire on wealth inequality. They got to get that word inequality in there as often as they can. The New York Times, performed by a comedian.
It's like parlay on Sundays during football. Parlay. Oh, yeah. Ugh. Turn that into a drinking game. My Lord.
Put parlay in the comments if you lost a couple this weekend. New York Times says, performed by a comedian who swiped the keys to a 1%er's home. Actually, and I'll just use Tampa Bree, they use her last name, is a licensed real estate agent. And this video clip is an authentic advertisement for that mansion in the Tampa area. Okay, so she's ditched upbeat cheerfulness. That is the industry's default tone, New York Times says. New York Times, they got a feel for real estate. They have a default tone, they say, agents do. and brought sarcasm and zingers to the world of residential real estate. She would dearly love to make a sale and earn a commission, but first she's going to make you laugh. They called her on the phone. She said, it's just my personality. And she wants to make jokes. So that's what she does. Now, she's 30 years old. She's got a huge audience, TikTok and IG. She's got over 300,000 followers on both. And she's in this Tampa market. Tampa market is one of the worst markets in the country, Nicole.
Yep.
The Gulf Coast of Florida, parts of Texas, those are like, if you're going to pick the top 12, 15, markets that are underperforming in the country, you're going to have 3 or 4 on the Gulf Coast, and you're going to have 3 or 4 in Texas, and then maybe 3 or 4 scattered somewhere on the West. But, Tampa's one of those markets that's actually went negative year over year pricing. And you can't say that about a lot of the markets. So when New York Times says, hey, Tampa market is struggling, in retrospect to the last 3-4 years, it certainly is underperforming. And in comparison to the rest of the country, it's underperforming. Got hit with the storm, obviously, a year ago. So there's a lot going against the Tampa market that is not happening in other markets. All right. So Tampa Bree, though, she's new. So this is the only market she knows.
Well, I think it's also because I'm scrolling through her Instagram, and I think we need to be sure these listing videos, these are not her listings.
No.
Yeah. So I just want to make that clear. Like we're saying listing videos, but they're not like the seller.
Well, there's still a listing video.
I hear you,
it's just not her listing.
Correct. I just wanted to clarify, yes, that it's not like the seller is like, hey, I'm hiring you to make this video. She is presenting it, I suppose, on the buyer side. But majority of these are not hers. Yes. I just wanted to clarify.
She's marketing the home.
She's definitely tagging the agent in all of them. She's being very clear that this is not her home, or some of these houses aren't even actually on the market. Like there's one that's actually kind of funny, but that it's not on the market. But I just wanted to clarify, these are not. So
if you've come across her, this is an aggressive approach by an agent who got licensed late last year or somewhere in the second half of last year. So she's new. This is her first full calendar year, according to her broker, who was also interviewed in this New York Times piece. Yep. Okay. They're aggressive videos. The jokes I couldn't pull off. They are aggressive jokes. Okay.
Aggressive.
Now they're getting a ton of attention. If you look at her, if you scroll over on IG and look at the 3 pinned posts, 4.5 million on IG, 3.5 million on IG, 4.3 million, the top 3 pinned. Okay. If you just kind of go back to recents, you got 800,000 views, almost 1 million views.
1.6 million. She's getting good views. Yeah.
2.2, 3.2 million, 1.6 million agents, multiple 2-3 million viewed videos, and like her underperformers are 145,000, 150,000, 96,000. Those are the underperformers. Agents would dream for 100,000. What is her underperforming video to be, a video that they could pop off. So we'll play a couple clips. So in case you're unfamiliar, you can get a taste of Tampa Bree.
$750,000 and the house doesn't even come with grass. I'm just kidding. The owner's gonna put sod in. Chill out. This yard has more dirt than Joe.
You're gonna stand there owning a fireworks stand and tell me you ain't got no whistling bunghole? I used to have a swing like this at my house, but my legs were up higher.
4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2,200 square feet. If you're having a bad day, just remember that somebody somewhere woke up, put on Crocs, and was like, this is a good idea. Crocs is the first sign of depression. If one of your friends is wearing Crocs, check in on them because they are not okay. Also, when are we gonna stop mounting TVs this high? How am I supposed to watch one guy, one jar without spraining my neck or my asshole? Other realtors will be like, it's a massive kitchen for entertaining. It's not massive, but you're definitely gonna accidentally brush up against your grandma's while you're making coffee. Your grandma locks eyes with you. She hasn't felt the touch of another man in 48 years. Why do all realtors talk like they earned a Purple Heart in the military? They're always like, I am proud to serve and protect my clients no matter the cost.
Like, I promise you that sending 3 emails a day and posting just listed on Instagram is not that serious.
Sorry about the beeping, my grandma's on life support. Damn, these people love big decks. Same. Share this with someone who wears Crocs. Of course, I'm in a fucking gated golf course community. I feel like I'm at Donald Trump's golf course.
It's 4 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms. I walked in, I said, wow, that's a lot of bathrooms. Beautiful Tarpon Springs. How many square feet? A lot of people are asking. And I'll tell you, it's a lot of square feet. It's too bright, turn it off.
I honestly can't believe people call golfing a sport. You want me to call John Daly an athlete? No. If John Daly's an athlete, then I'm Mila Kunis. If golf is a sport, then pool is a sport. And if slamming a bunch of balls together is a sport, I'm an Olympic champion. How long have you worked here? They give you a 401k or... This is the perfect place to shower after you're done golfing. Rinse off that other woman's perfume so your wife can't smell it. They have a movie theater.
Play Sydney Sweeney walking backwards. Play Ana de Armas kissing POV 4K. Play Sydney Sweeney jumping up and down.
This pool is huge. I can see all the golfers in their pastel shorts. Smells like Sperry's just had a sale. Share this with one of your friends who plays golf every Sunday.
Okay, so that's her style.
Yeah.
And I've come across her IG. Now, because the following is so substantial and she's grown a huge following on Instagram and as well as TikTok, but I see her on Instagram. I didn't realize till reading this New York Times article that she was this new, because she's doing a good job of what you said before, which is getting inventory. Part of the game of attracting listings is talking about listings. My friend Josh Rubin did this very well in New York City, where he says, hey, I'm just going to run down the top 5 luxury sales in Manhattan every single week. And it was just, it was just a market update. Hey, this week we saw the top sale come in at $30 million. Okay. When he was using the word we, he was saying we, the market. I'm pulling the data, Manhattan agent, and we, the market, we, the people, saw this deal come in at $30 million. Now, a consumer is listening to that, watching it, saying, this guy is in the know. This guy is in the weeds of luxury Manhattan real estate. And of course, you look at what he's done today, super successful Douglas Elliman agent. So what Tampa Bree gets is, when you talk about listings, you're already at an advantage to getting listings. The listings go to the people that are talking about them in front of them, appear to have a lot of them. She appeared to me to have a lot of them. I wasn't clicking, and what you did was obviously identifying that she was using other people's listings. What caught my eye was the broker saying, New York Times asked, and the broker said to date, or New York Times is saying, and this is, I guess, directly coming from the broker of the Realty One Group Advantage, to date, which, we're in September here, mid-September, to date, she sold 3 homes and has 4 under contract. So the broker owner says a very strong start for an agent who got her license late last year. Okay. I wouldn't identify it as a very strong start. Now, the 4 under contract are there. Now we're seeing momentum.
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're definitely seeing momentum. And,
Well, I
and the
think,
brokers,
yeah, I think it's, I would look and see then when she started maybe making these videos, if there's like some sort of quarrel. I mean, I guess she's been in the business so short there. I mean,
I've been seeing the videos for quite some time. All right. So before we get into the production, and listen, 4 under contract, that's legit. She's, she has an outside chance here in mid-September to hit double-digit sales. I say, hey, in your first year, you got to get to double-digit sales, double-digit reviews. One of the things I always talk about. So she's got an outside chance to get there. Okay?
January. It looks like she started making them this year.
Yeah, I mean the following she has built from January to today, exceptional work. Okay, on the following. Now, Nicole, is this content is it holding her back from doing more business? Because you look at her social and she's promoting so many other agents' listings. I would have guessed she's 15 sales this year. She's attracted a bunch of business. Now, the broker said she's handed off dozens of leads to colleagues at the real estate firm where she works. So that the content, she's being inundated with calls from people shopping for a home. It's just, I would love to sit down with Tampa. Hey, is this your
Why are
model?
you handing them off? Yeah.
Do you want to hand off leads and just take referral fees and then kind of just pick and choose? You sold 3, you have 4 under contract. Is it a location thing? Certainly might be a location thing. Realty One's a big brokerage. They have a lot of offices throughout the state. Maybe it's just outside where she wants to go. But if that point is true, that she's generated dozens of leads and some of those leads have converted, then there's obviously more income there. So on the content that she's producing, is this going to help her or hurt her? Where are you at on the stylistic approach that she's implemented here?
Well, I don't know that I can actually say if it's going to help her or not. I think that there's an agent for everyone. I think people that are going to choose to work with me are not going to necessarily maybe choose to work with her, and vice versa. I think what she's probably trying, what I know she's attempting to do, and I think that obviously with her followers, I do think that she is trying to show her personality to form trust. Again, obviously some of the things that she's saying are vulgar and a little outlandish, but I think that people are really getting a good sense of who she is. And I feel like once you kind of know who somebody is, you can kind of start trusting that. So I don't know that I can say that it's going to work or not for her, because I can't do it. I'm kind of like you. I would never be able to pull that off. I'm just not a funny person. But I think that what I'm doing may not work for her either. And I think that I trust that she is going to turn it into, she's got to flip it into something. I mean, look at all the followers she has, right? I mean, as long as the followers are also in her city, because if she's doing it for followers, I think that she's succeeding. But if she's not actually,
I'm just going to guess. I don't think she's necessarily doing it for followers. Obviously followers.
Well, I don't know. I feel like she's in that generation though, that it's very easy to get wrapped up in all of this. I mean, look, she's in the New York Times. I mean, I
think she's doing it for views.
Yeah.
I think what that generation understands, and
yeah. My apologies. That's probably what more I meant. Yeah.
I think she's doing it to show the reach that she has. Now, she says she started posting the comic videos in March, and this was after testing like kind of what you would typically see as real estate tours. Okay. And she was irked that fewer than 200 people watched them. So she's conscious about how much reach she has. So that's when in March she unleashed a funny video tour of a newly constructed 5-bedroom home. She said in that video, "I could never live here. 1, because there's a dead bug on the floor. And 2, she said, I don't like heights, and there was a balcony and whatever." So she generated, just being authentic and funny and whatever, generated a higher level of reach. And she's continued to obviously, use that. Here's what I think.
People are, I'm watching them till the end. So I am at the very least seeing the house.
Yeah.
Where
I think 2 things. I think this strategy works because if you can explain to a seller the advantage of a video is only to increase the amount of shares and eyeballs. All it takes, like Ryan Serhant talked about this. I'll be actually seeing him tonight when I get ready to go speak at his event tomorrow. But he talked about this at BAM BBQ. I believe it was BAM BBQ, where, all he wants is his videos. Hey, some young kid to share this with their father. Hey, I know you're thinking about buying a second home in Tampa. Like, you should check this one out. Like, but why did the kid watch it? Because it was funny. It was interesting. It was content that they would sit there and watch till the end, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
And it's those shares that, people that understand content, that's what they're looking for. That shareability, which is going to obviously increase the impressions and the views. And when you position impressions and views in front of a seller and say, hey, stylistically, you don't need to love it. The only goal with the video is to have it seen by more people. to create a competitive environment. Here's how we're going to do that. So, you try to explain that to a seller. She can get really good at going on listing presentations and explaining that advantage to a seller, where they're not taking an emotional approach to their home. It's no longer your home. Detach them from the home. You want the outcome of the money.
Yeah.
And attach them to why this puts them in a better position than somebody's tour that gets 200 views that she's talking about. There's an advantage there, just like there's an advantage to an agent who goes in and pitches a listing video attached to a retargeting ad strategy on YouTube and Meta that is going to obviously target people that are clicking on Zillow and Realtor.com, and if you're gonna, you can use all these tools to your advantage. Okay, you can list on Zillow, or you can list on Zillow Showcase and increase views and awareness and attention. There's two different ways to list right now, right? Just like there's a couple of different ways or multiple different ways she's showing us to showcase, videos on IG. If you're not getting 2 million views organically like she is with an IG video, and you're going up against her, well, you're at a disadvantage unless you can talk ads and some of these other things that you might be doing, right?
Yeah.
And so, I think she's found a niche. You could always start a second channel that is more of the buttoned up like presentation, like a brand channel of your typical listing videos. But don't give this up. This is a powerful resource. Now, my critique of Tampa Bree, if I was having a cup of coffee with her and we were
You would love
chatting,
that.
masterminding about real estate.
Always.
Yeah. If we were chatting about real estate, I'd say, walk me through you're handing off these referrals. Walk me through that system. How you're doing that, how you're tracking conversion on that, because you're generating. The hardest thing to do in real estate forever and always is generate a ready lead.
Unless she's generating leads that are not in her area. And maybe that's what's going on here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So walk me through how that looks. Are they out of area? How are you tracking that conversion? How are you positioning that? How's the handoff? Then do you have any, like, are you all actually involved in that? Is these some of the listings that now you're promoting? So if there's upside by you doing a video, to me, that's a higher referral fee, because now you're involved in the marketing plan. That could be an approach. So, walk me through that. And, if those are converting, then that's a whole business model in and of itself, where you could literally do the referral. Hey, I can hand the referral straight off. I'm going to need these kind of updates. I'm going to need to track conversion, because you don't want to generate leads and hand them off to people that can't convert. Or option number two, I'm going to hand the referral off. I'm going to be involved in the marketing plan. I'm going to get a higher fee. Think of Zillow, think of 40.
Yeah.
And that could be a whole business model. Listen, Zillow's not your broker, because 40% referral fees is pretty good without being the broker, right?
Yeah.
But now she does have some of her own business. And so,
well, did you read it all the way to the end? Have you read this article all the way to the end?
I've read most of it. Yeah. I don't know if I've read exactly to the end.
I mean, it does sound like there's a production company. She's working with a production company for stand-up comedians, and they're trying to build a show around her. So that could be, again, her motivation could be a little different. It sounds like comedy and acting has been her passion forever. So again, I think we're kind of learning a little bit more of what she prefers, which that's what I love about real estate. I feel like it's the vehicle to so many things, like.
Oh, it is. The show is just really going to be, like I mentioned Ryan names earlier. You sit down and talk to Ryan about the show. It's like, the show's useless without leveraging it into some type of a business.
Yeah.
The show is useless unless you can take that attention and funnel it into an actual business, track that business. And that's what I'm talking about with her referral. So
Yeah.
cool, do a production, do a show, get more attention. I'm totally with building brand. But until you sit down and focus on how do I take attention? How do I take leads? How do I send them somewhere? How do I track that traffic? How do I convert on that traffic? How do I track how many appointments are held and on whatever? Maybe it's a product online, maybe it's a real estate product. Okay, but the show's great, but you're not going to make a ton of money off of those shows. You're going to be able to take attention and then understanding, hey, that's consumer attention.
Yeah.
Probably the best thing I can do is build social, but then off of the back of the social, I got to convert. So the second piece is I look at her business. She's done 3 sales and has 4 under contract. So right now she's figuring it out. She has an ambition to do some business, and her broker's commenting on her. The broker's probably hoping she's going to continue to do business.
Of course.
Because that's what's in it for them. But she's got 4 under contract. So she's interested in doing some business, I would say, right? Or maybe she's just kind of testing it out, but she doesn't have a Zillow profile up. She doesn't have a Realtor.com profile listed. You can find some of her listings on Zillow, but there's actually not a profile. Being able to respond immediately to all of these leads in real time, not her, but maybe somebody else, that would be the conversation I'd be going if she wants to build her business and building the infrastructure around here. The production company can help brand, but production people know very little about actually how to turn that into a business more times than not. I'd keep the content, and
I shared it.
She
did one, and I shared it with Ryan here in the office because he likes to do the Trump impersonations. She did one.
She did a Trump. Yeah, I saw that one.
Got
That
it.
was pretty good. All right, Wall Street Journal. Nicole, the post you sent me on Instagram has the caption, "They're divorced. A 2% mortgage is keeping them together." So they're already divorced. For divorcing couples, there's a particularly tricky version of what housing professionals call the lock-in effect, where homeowners stay in place because they don't want to give up their low rates. We've seen that over the last 3+ years with the real estate recession. Transactions, the lowest point, worst transaction market since 1995. Across the housing market, the lock-in effect prevented almost 2 million homes from being between mid-22 and 24 to sell. That's continued. But here's the thing. Wall Street Journal claims that there are some ex-spouses are choosing to nest, an arrangement in which the kids remain in the family home and the parents rotate in and out. The practice has been around a long time, but has gained popularity, and the costs of moving have risen. It takes serious coordination, and even then, it often doesn't work. Some exes who spoke to Wall Street Journal said they run their homes like Airbnbs with checkout lists for cleaning, groceries, and linen. God, sounds like a miserable life. Sorry for anyone listening that might be having to go through that right now. Others split the main house into distinct spaces with separate entrances. Having one buy out the other can mean refinancing into higher rate loans. So like, hey, if I'm going to buy you out, now I got to go.
And they probably can't even afford it at that point.
Yeah, and buy something. I don't want a 7%. You're going to keep
or
the 2%.
if I want to keep the house, but if I do buy you out, I have to refinance it. You can't.
So there are some divorced couples that are actually living together because the rate is so low. Affordability of going and finding something else is keeping people together longer. Nicole, have you seen this situation? What's your take?
I've seen rotating before, but not because of rates. So I have yet to see or run into
more for the kids. The reason is for the kids.
Mostly it's for the children. Yeah. Like you and I are deciding to break up. Why should we disrupt the kids and move them all around? It's really only
in the same house.
Yeah. That strategy has lasted maybe a year because the other parent is usually like living out of their car. I mean, that just can't be a calming way to live your life either. So it's interesting. I mean, I understand it. I think probably splitting up the spaces makes more sense, but damn. I mean, you just feel bad. I'd like to think that they were going to make some money off of it too. So it's almost like, why don't you just sell it and take the cash? But
Agents, we all want and need more listings. We want to be able to capture the business from our clients. So it means we need to stay in front of them, front and center when they're thinking about real estate, when they're making a real estate decision. That's why I love what Reminder Media is doing for agents across the country, producing high quality physical and digital magazines where you can tell a full story about what's going on in your community, what's happening in the market, and reminding people that you are the expert that they should be reaching out to when it comes to making a real estate decision. Reminder Media is a resource that you need in your corner to stay in front of your clients. You also get a free sample magazine by using the link that I'll put right down below. Check out Reminder Media and everything that they have to offer you and helping you stay in front of your clients. Well, because then you're forced to rent because of where rates are. I've said this over and over again on the hot sheet, and there's a lot of people online that disagree with me. They think that we can solve affordability in housing some magical way. The only way to solve affordability in housing in the near term is to get the rates lowered. And we're in a week here where Jerome Powell and the Fed are going to make some type of decision. That decision is basically kind of baked into the cake. It's going to be a 25 basis point cut. 96% chance, according to CME Group, that obviously happens this week. But our momentum on the 30-year fixed rate is already reflective of that cut. So Jerome Powell could come in, make a cut, and actually the 30-year fix could go up unless he has a surefire plan for the future and investors and the markets believe in his plan. See, a lot of this is what Jerome Powell is going to do in the future. And unless we get a Fed that signals there are multiple future cuts coming. I'm simplifying this. You can get on the hot sheet. Obviously, we go through this every day and how to, kind of use this information in your business. But at the simplest form, unless the Fed shows the market, I'm serious about cuts because I'm serious about making sure we have maximum employment, which is one of the dual mandates. Until that is articulated clearly, and with a solid plan, rates are going to just kind of hover where they are, and they may even go up if he pukes on himself, which he commonly does when he gets up in front of the press. If the plan is for multiple cuts, you could see this come down, and that is the only path, the 30-year fixed mortgage rates coming down, particularly with a 5 handle, and the lower you get into that 5 handle, I think the more movement you get, where consumers can start to actually say, yeah, there is some affordability. There's some level of affordability. Okay. Builders are sitting on 9-10 months of inventory nationally. Well, why isn't building solving our problem? I thought it was more inventory. No, because builders can't build in the affordable price points. There's too much regulation. Material and labor are astronomical. So you'll hear an argument from some, the whole system needs to be reworked. We're going through a whole financial restructuring and underwriting right now. It's called tariffs and trade deals. That's a completely new upheaval of the financial system as we know it for decades. You don't like it, it triggers you, cool. No problem there, but we are going through a financial upheaval if you're being realistic about what's going on. So the only way to get affordability and to get married, or I guess divorced couples living in separate homes, which ups transactions, would be rates. If you want transactions to go up, rates got to go down. It's as simple as that. That's the only path forward. Certainly when you're talking about a short-term path, 12, 24 months. And so until then, you'll be walking down the hallway, bumping into your ex, and maybe they got somebody tailing them. Hey, I got a guest coming to the bedroom. You don't mind, do you?
them? Oh,
Hey,
Lord.
I got have you met so-and-so?
Yikes.
She's really nice.
Hopefully the house is large enough that you don't have to see anybody tailing anybody.
You want an English muffin? She makes great English muffins.
Oh my gosh. Have you seen the Charlie Sheen documentary?
No, but he was just on Rogan.
First of all, it was magnificent. I thought it was beautiful. But Denise Richards is on it, and she's talking about how after like some of his like benders, after they were divorced, she would show up at his house and start making him sandwiches, and she would make enough for the prostitutes because like she figured everyone needed to eat. And it reminds me of that.
You gotta eat till. Hey,
they need to eat. I mean, it's been a few days since they came out of there.
That's very nice.
Yeah, I thought so. You got to watch it. I thought it was magnificent.
You watch more documentaries than anybody I know. If you got a documentary question, DM Nicole on IG.
I'll point you in the right direction.
Yeah, she will. All right, that's the real word for this week. We'll see you guys next week. Keep it real.
See you guys.